Thank you.
So a very warm welcome, everybody, to this press conference. We're very grateful that so many of you could make it on short notice. As you all know, this has been a somewhat improvised program this year. But more importantly than even welcoming you, despite how happy I am to see you all, I want to welcome Maria Corina Machado, this year's Nobel Peace Prize Laureate, who, as you know, has undergone quite some strain to be here in order to be celebrated as the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize Laureate. We are all extremely happy to have you here, to know that you are here safe and sound. I have apologized to you personally, but I also want to do it here with witnesses for driving you so hard after you landed just before midnight last night. I don't think you had virtually a second to yourself, apart from having been able to get a few moments with your family. After all, we are humans. Very happy to have you here, Maria. We will start this press conference with a few opening words from the chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, Jørgen Vatne Frydnes. Then a couple of words from the Nobel Peace Prize Laureate for 2025. And then we will open up for questions. And I will be moderating this event. And we aim to end up by quarter past 1 at the latest. Please, Jørgen.
Thank you. Being here and talking about these issues has such a gravity that I cannot sit. I have to stand up for this, if you may. Because we gather here today to defend something far more important than either side of political or ideological divide. We gather to defend democracy itself, the very foundation lasting peace rests upon. Democracy is what allows nations to handle conflicts without violence. It turns fear into participation and power into responsibility. And this is what this is all about. Democracy, not dictatorship. Peace, not oppression. Few places show this contrast more clearly than Venezuela. There, the opposition united around a simple, essential demand: free elections and representative government. This shared commitment, despite political differences, is the very heart of democracy. But today, Venezuela faces the opposite. The country has entered one of the most repressive periods in years. The goal is no longer to fill prisons, but to silence those who can mobilize others. Torture, isolation, and inhumane conditions persist across detention centers. Families disappear into the machinery of repression. Fear is their tool of governance. This is what happens when democracy collapses. Freedom gives way to fear, and peaceful politics gives way to violence. It should not be necessary to state the obvious. Democracy is the path to peace. Dictatorship is the path to war and suffering. And yet, in the middle of this repression, stands or sits a woman who refuses to be silenced. For the past 15 months, Maria Corina Machado has lived in hiding. You've moved quietly here, cautiously, knowing that every step carried danger. You've lived with threats that would break people. the regime has declared its intention to erase your voice and even your life. Still, despite this, despite every warning, every danger, every reason to stay away, you are here. And today, as we look at you, we are reminded of something profoundly human. That courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else matters more. That is why we in the Norwegian Nobel Committee wrote in October, as the leader of the democracy movement in Venezuela, Maria Corina Machado is one of the most extraordinary examples of civilian courage in recent Latin American history. But citations and speeches cannot grasp and capture what it means to see you being here in this room, in safety and in dignity. So just let me end with this. From all of us, we are so grateful that you are here. More grateful than any word can express. Grateful that the threats did not stop you. Grateful that fear did not silence you. Grateful that despite every risk to your life, you choose to come. Your presence here is a reminder that hope, courage, and love for your country, love for your family, can outlast repression. Thank you so much for being here.
My turn. I will start by thanking you all, every one of you who's here today. I've met these last hours Venezuelans that have come so far away as Saudi Arabia, Japan, Chile, Canada, people from all over our country, and they are proud to say so. I'm so glad to be able to see you and meet you again at Mundo and Mercedes. We're so proud of you, and so looking forward for what we're going to do together very soon for our country. Seeing friends, colleagues that I have not seen in the last 8 or 10 years, but that have stand firm all around the world, closer every day to Venezuela. Nor distance or time have broken that profound link to your country. And everybody says they want to come back. Everybody that I've met in the streets of Oslo say they are preparing their bags to come back home, to build a nation that we'll be so proud of, and that we will always tell our children what this generation has done. I am so grateful, and I have to say it here, to the people that made it possible, men and women, that I could arrive here today. To all of you, my friends, Venezuelans, know, because I've said this before, that every single day of my life I ask myself where I'm most useful to our cause. And when I make that decision consciously, that's where I have been. That's why I've stayed until recently in our country. This day, I had to be here. And it wasn't easy. Sometimes it looked impossible. But how many times we've been told what we wanted to do was impossible. And we have done it. So being here today is a proof of what the Venezuelan people's will and courage and love is capable of achieving. And I arrived a little late, but I'm here, and I think that God has its ways, because my words couldn't have been better expressed by someone of a generation that has not known democracy or lived in freedom, but they have learned from their fathers, mothers, and grandparents what it requires. And these our children are willing to give their life for something they have never known. So that's why I'm convinced we have the best generation of Venezuelans ever, ready to finish our job. Not only to liberate our country, but to build a nation with strong pillars, ethical pillars, that will represent the new democratic institution for centuries to come. That's the magnitude of the responsibility we have. And now, if you allow me, I want to say a few words in Spanish. Porque quiero hablarle a todos los venezolanos que están aquí y que están en Venezuela. Todos sabemos que este ha sido un reconocimiento para cada uno de nosotros, 30 millones de venezolanos, que nos ha unido porque hemos celebrado en todos los rincones de Venezuela, y en Venezuela a veces por dentro, a veces en iglesias, a veces solo en las cocinas de nuestras casas porque no se podía celebrar en las calles, pero en tantas ciudades alrededor del mundo. Y mi deber era venir a recoger este premio para llevarlo de vuelta a los venezolanos. Y pronto estaré de vuelta en Venezuela, y sé que muy pronto ustedes también. Y vamos a demostrarle al mundo que no solamente nos merecemos este premio, sino que realmente esta generación entera pasará a la historia de la humanidad, porque lo que hemos hecho ha sido enorme y ha demostrado, como lo dijo Maria Corina ayer, que al final freedom certainly requires democracy, and I started wrong. Peace requires democracy, and you cannot have democracy unless you conquer and defend freedom. And at the end, to maintain freedom, and it is a personal, conscious decision, it requires a lot of courage, civic courage, as you had said. And an individual and a society is willing to do everything, and it takes a lot of courage when the things you love most in life, most dearly, are threatened. So at the end, it is an act of love. Ultimately, peace is an act of love. And I think that's the lesson we have given ourselves. And we hope that these, can be helpful and inspirational to other nations as well. So thank you very much to all of you, the committee, and the Institute, and certainly to the Norwegian people that have shown us also much love in these hours. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I now already see more hands than I can possibly register and than I can possibly accommodate. So this is going to be unfair, and I apologize in advance. But I already have a few names on a few people on my list. AP first. Please introduce yourselves and your affiliation.
Thank you, Javier from AFP. Congratulations too. I realize that you cannot say much about the circumstances under which you left your country, but could you say at least if you have the feeling that the Venezuelan authorities have tried to hinder you from attending the Nobel ceremony, have tried to prevent you from attending the Nobel ceremony yesterday, and to which extent did you benefit from help from the US authorities?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, for the reasons you mentioned, I cannot give details because these are people that could be harmed. Certainly the regime would have done everything to prevent me from coming. They did not know where I was in hiding in Venezuela, so it was hard for them to stop me. It was rude, nonetheless. And yes, we did get support from the United States government to get here.
Thank you. And I have to ask everybody to limit yourself to one question and not follow Pierre's example of sneaking 2 questions into one. That's an old, well-known trick, and it did work in this instance. It may not work again. Please, with the light hair there, yes.